Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I am Omega. I am here today with my friend Lucky.
Hey everybody.
Unfortunately, Ron is not here with us physically tonight. He's busy being lost in the backwoods of North Carolina. But he's here with us in spirit.
Poor city boy. Though, can we really even say physically, considering that we aren't even close together?
I mean, his physical presence is not in this digital audio space.
There you go.
Though it's true, we are just digitally connected. But I'm physically speaking, you're physically speaking, Ron isn't physically speaking, he's not here right now.
Alright.
But if you want to know what Ron would say, just imagine him going, "What?" all the time.
Yeah, this is definitely not his cup of tea.
It's kind of strange that it's not. But anyway, alright. So, yes. Today, let's talk about FateGrand Order, the new mobile game, which...
yes, I like...
Go ahead.
It's like, yes, I'd like to call it Historical Waifu Collection Simulator.
Yeah. So, the game isn't technically new. It's been out for a few years in Japan and in China, but it recently launched in NA on Android and iOS devices. Available now. Friend codes in the description. So, yeah, we've both been playing it a lot.
I think a lot is like an understatement.
Well, let's just put it this way. There's two story chapters in the tutorial available in the North American version on launch. Both of us have cleared those already. And I think I've cleared all the free quests except maybe like one.
I'm still working in Roma because I'm in the event feeding game right now. So
oh yeah, no, events are good. Technically, there is an event globally going on right now. Two, if you're being specific. One, Gilgamesh has appeared, so there's a special gacha with Gilgamesh as a 5-star in it right now. This is his temporary appearance. He'll appear later, but this is the first time you can get him. There's also raid-ups on certain servants, and special CEs that are only available there. And if you don't know what we're talking about, we'll explain that all later, but, we're in this point of conversation. And also, there is half AP, which is your typical, mobile game energy stat that replenishes over time. It's half AP for daily quests, which is the events you do to get in-game currency, EXP items, other stuff. Is the daily quests how you get other Ascension items? Is that what the greens are for?
From what I can tell, the Ascension items are like those statues, and you get those from defeating servants, which are the 3 or 4 event daily quests.
Alright, okay, so that is the event daily quests.
Yeah.
So I need to start kicking the shit out of those, because I've got some max level servants who need more shit. Also, you probably get the gems you need for skill up from doing this.
Yeah.
So yes, basically there's 3 types of events, if you didn't know. One's for EXP cards, one's for quartz points only, which is your in-game currency, which I don't really know why you need to do them, because holy shit, the game gives you so much quartz points. And then the third one, the events quest, is Ascension items and stuff. Also, if it involves defeating servants, that's good for your weekly quests. The master quests, because those usually involve defeating X of so many types of servants or other things.
Yeah, I think this week's was Lawful, Divine,
it was Lawful, Chaotic, Roman, and then 10 total.
Yeah.
Which is actually really easy in the... Oh, and Divine. Which is actually really easy in the Roma chapters. And those also all actually matter, all those attributes, because there are different servants which have bonuses versus different attributes. Like Boudica, for instance, has a skill to do bonus damage versus Romans. And we've actually talked a lot about this game without explaining it. So let's go ahead and do our round of disclaimers. Step 1, we're going to spoil the shit out of the Fate setting. Fate is kind of old. The original VN has been out for over 15 years. So all that stuff's open knowledge in the game even. If you don't want to spoil yourself on Fate, I recommend either A, get the VN if you can. I don't know if there's an official translation, but there's definitely a 100% fans translation patch. You can even patch out the lewd scenes with the non-porn ones from the PS2 version. And yes, there's a PS2 version. Or my personal recommendation is watch the Fate Zero anime and then the Unlimited Blade Works anime, the TV series, not the movie. Because those are both by the same studio, UFO Table. They're both really beautiful, great soundtrack. And they basically cover all of your plot spoilers, your major plot points in the actual Fate setting. Or you could watch Fate Apocrypha anime airing now. That'll get you most of your high concept bullet points. But yeah, so if you're not going to do spoilers, stop right now. Turn it off. Watch 50 episodes of anime, come back. Okay, good, they left. So now I'm going to move on to my next disclaimer bullet point, because the true identity of Sabre is actually a spoiler, technically. That's not revealed right out of the gate in the VN. And that's that Sabre is King Arthur but a girl. And on that point, I'm going to put up a nerd alert. I'm not going to say the localization name. I don't like the way they put it, Altria. It's a very lazy translation. I prefer the way it actually sounds when she says her own name, Artoria. I do actually have an anecdote for why that is, though, because it's not the localizer's fault. It's because the original makers, Type Moon, are lazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they use that version of the translation, which is basically what happens if you literally Google translate the phonetic characters for Artoria's name, and they put it in English on their original merch from the visual novel in the early 2000s, because they weren't expecting it to be a big deal in the West. Which means they've got all this old merch that fans have been buying from the beginning, so that's their core fan base. So they can't really change it officially, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense. And if you understand both Japanese phonemes and English phonemes, you understand that Altria, written out, spells nothing like how Artoria is said. But yeah, so that's the big deal. If you're going to be like a real stickler for the official translation, you're not going to have a good time. Because we can't just use Sabre. There's too many Sabres.
Oh my goodness, you... Like, when I first started getting into Fate and everything, it's like, there was just one Sabre, and I just got used to calling her Sabre.
So did everybody else.
And now there are dozens and dozens of Sabre, and there are multiple versions of just one Sabre, and I'm just like, no! It's like I can't go into conversations now. Now I have to go like Sabre, then do a slash, and then add a name. I'm having to do this with all the other servants because it's really hard for me just to go, just to gush over my waifu Medusa, because my first instinct is to go writer, and then it goes, oh wait, no, the writer Medusa. And it's been such a pain to
honestly,
try and
most
acclimate.
FSN fans would know who you mean when you say, my waifu is writer, because you don't call Iskandar your waifu. So they know who you mean. The problem is in the discussion of this game, it's completely confusing. It's terrible.
Oh man, I was gonna joke about this a lot, but there is so much waifu material in this collection because it's...
Well, let's be honest. It's a gacha game. It's a collector.
It's a gacha game.
They want you to spend money, so they need to appeal to nerds with disposable income.
And all the girls are super nice. Like we were talking about Boudica here. It was Boudica has seriously got some sort of MILF thing going on. Her breasts are huge.
I mean, that's because she is.
I know,
it's hard to tell with her
kids.
anime face, but she was a mother of two adults by the time she was kicking the shit out of the Romans.
Yeah,
her daughters fought alongside her.
It's it is my personal preference to call her Boubica because I am witty like that.
That's not an uncommon joke.
And
there's an even funnier pun, I'll tell you. I don't know if you know this, but there's a Lancer version of Artoria, which is quote-unquote grown up because she doesn't have Avalon, so she ages normally, which means she's taller and actually looks like a woman. And there's a joke.
Oh yeah, isn't she the one that's has the big helmet and didn't she her breasts expanded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the alter version of her, because there's also an alter,
Oh my goodness.
has an even larger chest size, which leads to the joke in Japan, or at least among the fan base who's been playing this game this long, of chichiue, which is both a formal word for father and how Mordred refers to Artoria, but also as a pun for boobs.
Oh my. Oh.
It's great,
It
isn't
all.
it?
I know it all clicks together. That's multiple levels.
I know, that's the best names. And then they call the version of Artoria that's an archer, Archuria. All kinds of other dumb stuff.
As I said, it's like Sabreface. Sabreface is literal just like
Well,
fodder
it's
for
practically
this
well, it is a meme now, basically, but it's practically a franchise standard. Once you have established that saber faces are a thing, which Fate Zero did by canonically saying that Jeanne d'Arc looks like Sabre, at least enough for Caster to get confused, then they established that there are people who look like Sabre, and then they did it in Fate Extra with Nero, who literally looks like Sabre, but is not Sabre, and then they just kept going. They didn't stop. They did it with Apocrypha and Mordred, but that makes sense.
Oh
By
my
the way,
goodness.
Mordred is my favorite Saberface.
I'm just trying to think. Okay, so we have multiple sabers.
Yes.
We have Saber Lily, regular Saber, Alter Saber.
There's an image, and I'm going to see if I can find it so it can go into this video somewhere, of... You've heard this meme of, like, don't talk to me or my son ever again?
Oh, yeah.
So it's basically Saber, and then all the other versions of Saber, and also Mordred and some other characters, which is, don't talk to me, or the blah 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 me, or the blah 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 me, or the blah 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 me, or my son at the beach, again. Multiple times. It's a great image.
So
I'm going to try to find
long.
it. It's big. So yeah, that's the Saberface thing. By the way, also, it's a meme embraced by Sabre's VA, who has said that she will not rest until she has voiced an Artoria of every class. That means an actual Artoria, not just a character like Jeanne or Nero, who have different voice actresses, but an actual Sabre or Saber Alter or whatever. I think the only core class left is...
Caster?
Yeah, Caster. But that also doesn't include Gags. Because there's...
Oh my god.
Like, the assassin version of Saber is Mysterious Heroine X from a crossover event that invokes Star Wars. The Saber Wars. The writer version of Saber is Saber Alter Santa from a Christmas event, I think it'll be this Christmas. And stuff like that. So
I'm so hoping. I'm so hoping.
It should be on schedule.
Like, honestly, that's like a great thing about like this game coming out now after like several years of being in Japan is like we are now on that accelerated timetable, and we like just get like all the nifty benefits of all, and don't have to go through any of the horrible times that.
Hey, remember how I talked to you about how Nero's animations are so smooth?
Yeah.
They didn't start out that smooth. Same with Enya and lots of other characters. They got upgrades later in the game to have better sprites and animations. We got those right out of the gate.
Yeah, and like I was online and I was looking at comments, and of course, in typical American fashion, there are people like bombarding the Facebook page for FateGrand Order USA for information about when we're going to get our heroes, when are the next updates. And I saw this lovely long post. Guy who just opened up the game. It's like, hey, I'm a day one Japanese player. Y'all need to calm the fuck down. Let me tell you about some shit that we had to go through. They had something that they like to coined unlimited maintenance works.
Yeah.
Once you watch Unlimited Blade Works, you will get the reference and you will start using it for everything.
There's also a lovely fan image related to one of the Fate spin-offs, which actually I should mention. If you don't like Fate Zero, but you want to know more about Fate and Fate characters, watch Fate Prisma Ilia, which is a magical girl show.
Oh my god.
But there's a edited screen cap of Ilia and her, like, whatever the version of her that is Emiya, basically. in all caps.
Kuro?
Yeah, Kuro. Who, by the way, is a 4-star welfare servant, so we get her for free later.
Oh, yeah, sweet.
Yeah, it's great. And that's a concept we'll probably come back to, but for events, they have what they call welfare servants, which is they give you a decent 4-star character for free when they do the event to encourage you to log in and play it. Which is great. You get free shit.
Works.
But there's an image of Ilya asking Kuro, what happens when maintenance ends? And Kuro's like, then maintenance begins. Yeah. But they also have this lovely thing called Apollo Gems, which means they give you more quartz.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But yeah, so I have, other than the official scheduled maintenance, which clearly was to prep the servers for pushing the Gilgamesh update, I haven't had any serious problems connecting or anything.
Yeah. And, among other things, it used to be, right now, most, collection mobile games, you have AP, which, lets you do everything. And it recharges at a rate of 1 per 5 minutes.
Yep.
In the original, it was 1 per 10 minutes. And, you only start out with, 20 AP, but as you level up, it gets up. It goes
your
up.
level increases, but also when you level up, you don't fill, you add your new AP total, which means you can go way over. Like right now, because I've been grinding quests, I have 100 over 30-something AP.
Yeah. I'm about to hit 60 AP.
Also, here's another thing. In Japan, for a year, it was 40 quartz for a 10 pull, not 30.
Oh god, my wallet.
It's rough.
Oh man, I have not yet spent money on this game, but the temptation is high.
I'm probably never going to spend money unless I have it when they do certain anniversary or New Year events where you get guaranteed pulls of certain characters, but only with paid quartz.
Yeah.
That's about the only time I think it would be really worth it. Because they're just going to recycle, they're going to reintroduce characters with new events and do rate ups. If they don't get you the first time. Because they never want you to be sick or your phone's broken or something stupid and you can't get part of a short-term event. And then you're like, well, I can't get my waifu. I can't play this game anymore now. No, just hang on. We'll get you later. We'll get you later, buddy.
Yeah, I was honestly, that's the big sell. It's honestly, the game's great. It very much harkens back to ye olden days of visual novels, where it's literally just a couple people on the screen just making little emotions and talking to you, but it's still a great story. And then you start connecting to the character. Then you want the character. And then you realize they're a 5-star freaking 1% chance getting character, and you're going to have to do some goddamn black magic to get her. And that's how they get you.
Or you can rate up and then 3%. Or you can just be lucky. Like me.
Oh my god.
So for the Gilgamesh event, I pulled Jeanne d'Arc as my first 5-star ever in the game. Got her
and
in the first week.
And I have been trying to get Jeanne d'Arc for as soon as I basically finish the first real chapter, which is in France, where you meet Jeanne d'Arc and you just fall in love with her. It's I'm contemplating black magic circles.
Listen, you need to have a catalyst. In my case, the catalyst was my heart, because I actually do, in fact, greatly respect and admire the real Joan of Arc. It empowered me.
Hey, I do not think my love for Joan d'Arc is any less than yours. And I don't know what I'm missing, but he pulls it, and I'm just oh my god.
By the way, be friends to me on
so mad.
FGO. I have her in my first slot now, level 30.
It's I'm gonna you take good care of her, because I'm gonna take her around everywhere.
I mean, that's fair. I've been using your Tamino cat a lot. Because, holy shit. Well, also you put limited 0 over on her, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so much buster damage.
Yeah.
Alright, actually, I think that sounds like a good place. Maybe we should jump into the actual gameplay a little. Because we've just been, yakking about waifus and general stuff for 20 minutes now. We've covered our rough spoilers, our rough outline.
Alright.
Yeah, so I'll just summarize the game really quick. Basic idea is you, the player, are a mage candidate for an organization called Chalias. Or possibly Chaldeus. I don't really know what the origin of that is. But basically, it's a combination between the Mage Guild, basically, the Clock Tower, and the UN, who are monitoring human history to prevent it from being destroyed or something. And by a fluke of fate, and also because the director is a huge tsundere, you get kicked off the first mission and sent back to your room, which is good, because the first mission has been horribly sabotaged, and all the other mage candidates die or go into indefinite comas and shit. So you are literally the only magister left alive to go into the singularities and unfuck time.
You become the all-powerful Master Senpai.
Yes.
And your first character is a girl, the first girl you meet, and Chaldea, who goes by the name of Mash Caroline, and she is mysterious. So mysterious that she able to fuse with a servant, become a third-eye servant, and become the all-new class of Shielder.
Because she has a giant shield.
Yeah. But she doesn't know doesn't know what spirit she was. She doesn't even know what her noble phantasm is to begin with. And you basically go on this journey together, and she calls you either master or senpai. And she is your kohai wife.
Yeah, she's basically the character who is always with you because the game can't know what your party is, other than the support servants you get as part of the story, and Mash. Or Mashu in Japan. And her being a shielder is actually important because that kind of brings us to one of our core game aspects, because we've talked about how it's got a basic visual novel storytelling, which is really good for a mobile game because it's just text and sprites. But your actual gameplay is an RPG combat. You're dealt 5 cards a turn, 5 command cards, out of your servants, each having a 5-card hand or deck. These have 3 types. Buster, which is high damage. Quick, which generates critical stars, so you can get a higher crit chance the next turn. And then Arts cards, which charge your Noble Phantasm gauge, which is basically your limit break mechanic. Each servant has their own Noble Phantasm NP, which does unique things. Some NPs are better than others. And you charge this NP up by getting duplicates of that servant, and then you can level it up. Which means that less rare servants actually get higher charged Noble Phantasms. Each servant has...
And honestly, that's also... Actually, while in theory, that system's kind of infuriating for people who want to level up their rare servants. I think it's also ingenious on a certain level, because once you've leveled up your lower classes Noble Phantasm, then you don't really need the card anymore, and you can basically use that card to feed them more XP, which helps their growth along.
Yeah.
Because
also, by the way, I don't know if you realized this yet, Lucky, but you want to level up every servant you own because interludes give quartz.
Yeah, I realized that. I'm like,
if you don't know that already, level up everybody, ascend them, get their interludes, because you get quartz. Quartz is important because we'll get to that in a second, because I think we should probably talk about the gacha in general and our experience with it. But, so every servant has up to 3 skills. They all have 3 skills total, and then maybe some of them get extra skills later. I'm not sure about that. There's some, improvements to make certain characters stronger and stuff later in the game as, patches, but we don't have access to that yet. You start with 1, and that's a semi-unique effect that does some stuff, like they can do status effects, they can give you buffs, debuffs, healing, stuff like that. They help solidify a servant's role. You get the other skills through Ascension. And then each servant has a class. In the original Fate/stay night, there are 7 classes. The 3 knight classes, Sabre, Archer, Lancer. And then the 4, as most people call them, the cavalry classes, Rider, Caster, Assassin, Berserker. And that's your weapon triangle, basically, in Fire Emblem terms. Sabers beat Lancers, beat Archers, etc. And then Riders beat Casters, beat Assassins, etc. And then Berserkers take extra damage from all classes, but deal extra damage to all classes.
That's why.
And then there are certain special classes. Shielder, for instance, Mash, does not take extra damage from any class, including Berserkers, and does not deal extra damage to any class. It makes her an ideal tank with her skill setup. She can't deal damage for shit, because she's smacking people with a shield, but she soaks up damage a lot and does defensive buffs for your team a lot. So also she costs 0 points out of your character allotment, which is very important because high rarity servants cost lots of points, and so do high rarity CEs. So basically, she is a free, decent servant you slap in the front row all the time so she can soak up damage. And then there are some special classes. The only one I think you can get in NA right now is Jean, who is a ruler, and she basically takes reduced damage from all classes except Berserker and Shielder. But she does not deal extra damage to anybody but Berserkers, I think. Or does she deal extra damage to everybody? You know, I've been using her a lot. You'd think I'd remember this, but ruler's not in the main card triangle. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
as
that's the
I
basic
said,
of servants and the basic game mechanics. It's a lot deeper than you'd think, honestly, because there's a lot of strategy to it. If you stack 3 cards of the same color, the same type together, you get a bonus on whatever their effect is. So if you stack 3 busters together, you do even more damage. If you stack 3 arts together, you automatically charge like 20% Noble Phantasm, which is really good. But if you stack 3 cards of each servant together, they do a Brave Chain and they do an extra 4th attack, which is very powerful. And the order of the cards matters. A card that comes later in the order has more effect, but whatever the first card you pick, its effect is applied to everything. So for instance, if you stick an arts card in first, you won't gain a lot of NP off that card individually, but its arts effect is applied to every card that comes after it, so you gain a little bit of NP no matter what your other card color is. And the actual Noble Phantasms are also cards, so they have an individual type too.
Oh, you can still build chains off Noble Phantasms.
Yeah,
that's like, can. And shoot, if you change, there's even an effect if you chain Noble Phantasms.
If you stack, that's hard to do because usually when you're getting to Noble Phantasm range, you're either saving it for something or you were charging your Noble Phantasm because holy shit, I need to get out of this situation right now.
I've done it. I've chained 3 Noble Phantasms.
I've done it a couple times too,
every time,
yeah.
Once you every time it upgrades it. So if you start at 100% at the first one, next one's going to be the 200. That one after that's going to be 300, and you are just all like, I've unleashed the power of the gods upon the unknowing, and it is fantastic.
It's good. You will always feel great when you pull a Noble Phantasm, especially if it's one of the ones that has special music, like Emiya, who plays the Emiya music theme when he does Unlimited Blade Works. Nero plays her theme from Fate Extra when you do her Noble Phantasm. Sabre plays the Sword of Promised Victory when she does Excalibur. Also, one important thing to note about Noble Phantasms, they come in a couple types. There are AoE Noble Phantasms that hit the entire enemy row. There are single target ones which do a lot of damage to a single target. And then there's either enemy like group debuff or group buff. For instance, Jean's Luminous Eternal gives you invincibility for 1 turn and then defense up and self-healing for 2 turns, but stuns her. So she can't act next round.
And of course, with all games like this, people have worked out best combinations. And honestly, apparently from what I've seen, Jean and Marie Antoinette is a very popular combination to chain their Noble Phantasms together.
I can see why. Well, I mean, heck, even with Mary's skills, she can charm so your enemies don't attack you, and then she can invincibility yourself at her ascension.
Yeah.
I know this because I used your Mary an hour ago to fight some casters.
Yes, I did just pump a bunch of points into upping her skills and whatnot.
But the Gilgamesh event, we should also mention, if you're going to play now, because the Gilgamesh event is a great starter because Gilgamesh has opened his treasure trove, and he gives you a shitload of EXP cards, skill gems, and ascension items. Like, Jesus Christ, Gil, did you give me enough swag? The answer is no. With Gilgamesh,
apparently this is only part 1.
Oh my god, there's more, please. Papa Gil, you've been so good to me already.
But and I want to point this out before we go on because earlier you were talking about course prices. Jesus, do they give you enough? And I'm gonna tell you, no. I started doing skill ups and ascensions. I had over 5 million. I'm down to 2 million right now.
Okay, wow.
It's like it goes a lot faster than you think. Like, there's some skill ups cost 300,000.
All right. So yes, it turns out that quartz points actually matter. You still can get a lot though at once. So it's not like it's a permanent handicap. I'll tell people. But yeah, that's kind of getting us into our currency mechanics. So let's talk a little about those aspects. So FGO is a gacha game. That's short for gachapon. It's basically I think it's a brand of capsule game in Japan. If you know, like, those little quarter capsule machines at everything, diners, Walmarts, whatever, you drop a coin and turn the thing, you get a random capsule. That's the Japanese term for it. This is literally how this game works. You put your virtual quarter in, you turn it. If you're smart, you save up enough virtual quarters so you can turn it 10 times at once. You get 10 random capsules, and you pray to Kirei, don't spook me, bro.
Yeah, you say quarter, but actually, like, the same coins as the game, I will say, is not the cheapest currency I've seen in a gacha game. Like,
yeah, it is to my understanding that in Japan, the costs are average for a gacha game.
Really?
And they have not been adjusted for the North American market. So this is what the Japanese deal with, apparently, profitably for game makers all the time. Which might be a little steeper than some North American fans are expecting. I think for one quartz like $2.99?
Hang on, I have the game out. Oh, wait.
Sure, you can check.
I'm in the middle of the battle. I can't check. Oh, wait, no, I gotta beat the boss. Hang on.
Mine's charging.
But, check out the information here in a second.
So yeah, St. Quartz is your primary currency. You mostly use it for gacha pulls. It's 3 quartz for a single pull, and then 30 quartz for a 10 pull. You can also use it for other things. However, word of caution, I heard this from the community, don't spend St. Quartz to replenish AP. It's not that big of a deal that it takes a while to recharge, and the 3 fruits, bronze, silver, and gold fruits, are very common during events and also a regular reward for maintenance. Those recharge your AP that way. Whenever you level up, you regain AP. Do not spend quartz to regain AP. It is a bad investment. You also should be careful about spending quartz to prevent a wipe. Do it only on really hard bosses. And the Japanese players who've been playing for a while recommended you save it for, like, really late game stuff. But at the same time, we're not going to see the late game stuff for a long time. So if you're playing, like, the last mission of Rome, or the last couple missions of Rome, which are really hard, don't feel bad about burning quartz, okay? But only burn quartz after you use all your command seals. And that's another thing.
Yeah, command seal. Yeah, that's the thing, though. You, feel really bad for using your command seals, because if you burn all 3 on a save yourself from a wipe, that's 3 days waiting to get them all back. So,
command seals are a thing in the Fate portion of the Nasuverse, as most people call it, because of the primary writer for Type Moon. And I think it's in the beginning of our notes, but I think we're actually going to talk about the history of Fate more towards the end, probably.
Okay.
But, so, Nasu is the name of the head writer for Type Moon, and he wrote most of this stuff, so they call it the Nasuverse. So, command seals are from Fate, and basically, when you contract a servant, normally you get 3 command seals, which are 3 absolute orders you can issue to your servant. And then when you run out of command seals, your contract is basically broken, so use that last one wisely. You can use your command seals for 3 things in games, and because Chaldea has access to a shitload of mana, it recharges your command seals, and that's why you can summon so many frickin' servants. But you can use 1 to fully charge your NP gauge instantly, which actually matches some things you see in the series. For instance, at the end of Unlimited Blade Works, when Rin burns 2 to tell Sabre to blow up the Holy Grail, that's basically that. And then 1, you can repair Spirit Origin. You can completely heal a servant as long as they're not dead already. They have to still be in your current lineup. And then you can spend 3 to fully heal all servants. That includes all servants that are defeated, so basically it's a wipe save. You get command seals back at a rate of 1 per day. 1 per 24 hours. So, use them wisely. Most people I see save them for wipes. I usually save them for wipes if I've saved up enough. Very rarely if I'm in a situation where I do not have all 3 command seals, but I can clearly see, if I give Jean her full NP, or if I repair Medusa's HP now, I'll still win. That's a valid use. So spend your Saint Quartz after you've used up your command seals. There's another couple currencies in this game. There's Quartz Fragments, which you get from completing weekly quests. You get 7, I think. You make 1 quartz. So basically, you do all your quests in a week, you get a bonus quartz. It's not a huge deal, but it's a thing. You get quartzes also as login bonuses.
Alright.
You earn
So
QP.
I have pulled
Oh, okay, good. Well, we're still on quartz.
Yep, our Stone Quartz I did pull it up. A single quartz is 99 cents.
Okay, that's better than I thought.
Yeah. But it's still a thing of, and at the higher tier you spend out, you get so much free. So if you want to do the 10 pull for the gacha, which I highly recommend you wait for, because you're always guaranteed at least a 4-star.
Right. You're guaranteed
something.
a 4-star, and you don't get lower than a 3-star.
Yeah. But the
And
closest
quite
thing
frankly,
that goes,
single pulls are better saved for
over,
summon tickets, which you get through login bonuses, and they're in the store and stuff. Those leave you a single pull for free, basically.
So, here it is. To get 36 quartz, which is 25 Saint Quartz plus 11 bonus, free, as they so like to say, costs $23.99. So you're basically paying almost $20 to pull 10 servants, or 10 servants in CE, which are craft essences, which is basically just cool equipment.
Yeah, craft essences are your equipment, basically. Each servant has 1 slot for a craft essence. They're rated from 1 to 5 stars, just like everything else. They
honestly,
give you good bonuses, like you start with your NP gauge charged at so much % based on the rarity. You get such a percentage increase on certain kinds of cards. You get increased defense and increased debuff resistance. Each card has a attack or health. Those are your primary visible stats for each servant. Bonus, which increases as you level them. You can increase the level cap of a CE by spending other CEs to upgrade its experience of the same kind. So if you have, say, 2 copies of concentration, which increases your NP gain by 5%, if you spend a concentration to increase another concentration, it does a level breakthrough and it has its level cap raised.
And also, in some cases of the card, it also increases the effect. I can't think of a specific one off the top of my head, but I often find that a lot of them, once you have reached the top, they'll say has increased or something by so much, then they'll say max next to it. So
they improve as you level them, so it's good. Also, some have special effects. For instance, there's one from the North American Master Recruitment Campaign that gives increased friend points, which is another kind of currency we're going to talk about in a second. When people use your servant, so it's very useful. There was a tie-in event for the Blu-ray release of the English version of the OVA for Grand Order, which gives you bonus XP in your Mystic Code, which is basically your player character equipment, because that gives you certain master skills which you use but have cooldowns also.
Honestly, I'm kind of feeling like we get to equip different Mystic Codes.
We do. I don't know if there are more available in the game yet, but there will be later. I think they change your appearance too, like your sprite. So they're
awesome.
Usually references to other things. Like you can get them that look like school uniforms from different stuff. You could dress up in a cool suit, and probably a trench coat like Kitsurugi, stuff like that. And they give you different skills. The current 3 skill set is pretty good though. Let me tell you. Once I actually got into using them, oh man. Oh, my servant's down some HP. Let me drop a first aid real quick. Oh, I really need you to live. Let's pop an emergency evade. I really want this guy to die. Instant enhancement. Attack buff.
It's very well. It's very, very well. It's very balanced.
It is. They have longer cooldowns than servant skills, but their use is always with you. It doesn't matter what servants you put in the field, so you can always use these abilities, so do not underestimate them. Don't be afraid to pop your skills. The cooldowns aren't that long, and they're really good. Some servants have shitty skill pools, others have great ones. Artoria, for instance, has... Her first skill is... I think her first skill is Charisma, which boosts all your allies' attack, including yourself. Her second ability is Mana Burst, which increases her Buster card effectiveness, which Excalibur, her Noble Phantasm, is a Buster card. So basically, when you're ready to pop Excalibur, Charisma, Mana Burst, and then Instant Enhancement, they're done. It's an AoE. That's a wave wipe. But this is what we're talking about when we say that the game's mechanics are actually really deep. Like, there's a lot of strategy here. And you can punch outside of your weight class. Like, if you see a level requirement that's like, or level recommendation that's like level 30, and you're like, oh, gee, I only have, some level 25 servants. If you pick the right skill use, and you use your Noble Phantasms well, and you do the servant triangle matchups right, you can still win that easy.
Don't forget to bring Don't forget to bring a friend who's like level 50.
Also, yes, there's that. You can totally cheese the shit out of this game. There are some people who have max player level and max level servants that you can get in this game. I have people in my friends list with like level 60 Artorias, level 50 Artoria Altars, multiple level 40 Lancelot Berserkers. I'm about to have a guy who's going to have a max level Tamino Cat. Actually, you already have a max level Tamino Cat. You ascended her, so now you're going to make 50.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to be that guy. I've already got level 30 on Jean. I've got other high levels. I just ascended Medea. I've got max level Medusa that I can reach right now. Stuff like that. So, the other currencies in the game, there's quartz points, which basically, whenever you do something that isn't summoning, or in the actual shop, it costs quartz points. You want to level anybody up, you want to ascend them, you want to up their skills, it costs you 4 points. You get shitloads of them. As Lucky said, you can run low, but so long as you're constantly playing this game, you'll be getting oodles and oodles, and there's a daily quest to re-up if you need them. There's friend points. You get friend points by picking friends, because there's a dedicated slot in your 6-man team, which is always a support slot. You can either put, if you're playing story missions, you can sometimes put a story servant in there, an NPC, or you can pick somebody off your friends list, and everybody has a support roster. You have 8 slots, 1 universal slot, and then 1 slot for each of the 7 core classes that you can put in, and then people who are on your friends list get to pick from. And that's when we talk about cheesing it. Every time you do that, you get a certain amount of friend points. You get friend points when other people pick your servants, so you want to have a good support roster. And then there's a friend point gacha. It's 2,000 friend points. 2,000 friend points for a 10 pull. Or you get free summons.
But honestly, I have never felt the urge just to use the short pools. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna save up. I'm gonna get 10 at once. I'm just gonna drown myself in low level cards.
Yeah, you don't get better than a 3-star. Now, because 3 stars are added to this game, that means it's not bad. That's good, because you still want 3 stars. And we should say, even though there's the rarity mechanics, you still want those lower guys, because even low rarity servants can be very good. And like we said earlier, you can rank their NPs up fast. They're very useful. Yeah. But that gives you usually lots of EXP cards, occasionally some faux cards, which let you... Whatever.
Whatever. FOU.
Faux.
You guys figure it out.
Yeah. Those cards are stat ups. They can increase your health or attack for your servants. It gives you servants from ratings 1 to 3 and craft houses, which is rating 1 to 3. So basically, either it's... Once you roll it a few times, it's just EXP farming. That's all it is, which is good.
Yeah.
Because you always want EXP farming. As established, leveling up servants is good. And then there's a couple of other ones. There's mana crystals, which you use in the stop to buy certain items. Those have a limited stock, but I was going to assume that you don't get to buy 5 summon circuits ever. So there will probably be a refresh at some point that refreshes those. You can get EXP cards, faux cards, and summon tickets, which lets you do a one-time gacha pull from the quote-unquote story gacha or the event gacha. Which is your, like we said,
I'm on a level with you. I have, pulling is, it has infuriated me slightly. Especially with the single tickets, because I don't think I have pulled anything higher than a 3 using the single tickets.
I've gotten 4 summon tickets.
So I'm just like, that's why I
Listen
usually...
though, okay, I should say, there are a lot of myths and legends around the gacha because it's an RNG system. You know, always pray, don't spook me. You know, make sure that gold card, that 4-star card, or possibly that 5-star card, because while I've only gotten 1 5-star servant, I have like 2 or 3 5-star CEs. They're really good, but they're not what I want for 5 stars. I want to roll a Sabre or maybe Vlad, somebody else's 5 stars. Later in life, I'm going to want to roll Mordred. You know, there's other stuff like that. But there are a lot of rumors about people who have bad luck, you know, luck E, or people who have good luck, luck EX. I don't know if I've got an EX luck, but I have played other gacha games like Fire Emblem Heroes. They did a spring, quote-unquote, bridal event where they had versions of various characters in bride costumes. Literally with the free login bonus they gave me for that, I did a single summon, and I got Bride Lindis, who is from Fire Emblem the Blazing Sword, which in the US is just Fire Emblem, the GBA game, which was the first Fire Emblem I ever played, and it's my personal favorite. So, like, boom, right off the bat, 5-star. Got what I wanted. I'm out. So I don't know if I've got EX luck, but I've definitely got some spirit with the gacha mans.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and as I said...
Which is good because I don't have any money. Please watch this video a lot so I can buy Google Play dollars.
Please fund his Saint Quartz and Servant addiction.
Please help. Which is something, yeah, we should probably transition into, do we want to talk anything about the actual gacha mechanics, you know, our experiences with it? We can mention the game's hook, as we've said, is basically waifus, husbandos, very rarely daughters. You've got cute anime versions of historical and mythical characters. You've got either cute or really manly versions of historical dudes, and then occasionally you've got, you know...
terrifying versions of historical characters. Jesus Christ, Gilda Rays.
Yeah, Castor... Well, Bluebeard's a fucked up guy. Also, I recently watched the Fate Zero anime because I realized I never actually watched that all the way through in one continuous go. Holy shit, Lancelot. Man, bro, calm down. Calm the fuck down, bro. Lancelot as a berserker is terrifying.
Really?
He's... Alright, you're gonna get this because I know you've definitely watched UBW, and if you haven't watched Fate Zero recently, you should probably maybe go back and watch it all the way through if you haven't. Gilgamesh shoots his noble phantasms out of Gate of Babylon at Lancelot. Lancelot catches one out of the midair, and because his noble phantasm is to turn any weapon he carries into a noble phantasm, he gets instant mastery with it and just knocks the shit out of Gate of Babylon solo. The only reason why Lancelot doesn't kick the shit out of literally everyone in that Grail War is because he's a berserker with mad enhancement, so he's fucking crazy all the time, and his master has terrible mana levels and is basically killing himself to keep Berserker alive and in the war the entire time. Otherwise, he would fucking destroy everybody. He is strong enough to fight Arthur one-on-one in a sword fight, okay? Which is rough, because Artoria is a Sabre, which is broadly considered the best class, and she is probably one of the highest rated Sabres in history, because everybody knows the King Arthur legend. So yeah, no, Lancelot's fucking nuts. He's gross and terrifying. But yeah, so also what I was gonna say though was you sometimes get cute younger versions of historical characters. Like I've got Alexander, as in like somewhere in his teens, Alexander the Great, not big burly Iskandar, which I believe is how they actually differentiate that.
That's how they're gonna do that. Okay, so that's gonna be his story. Okay, so I totally forgot that young Alexander is Iskander. And so I was trying to figure out who the story around Okeanos.
Castor?
Yeah, so I was like, and then you miss it, Iskander, and then like everything just fell together there.
Yeah, no, that's a time trick because Waver or Lord El Meloy 2 was basically mentored by Iskander as his servant as a kid, and then because of time shit with the FGO, because time is really fucked up, you gotta unfuck time, you're the only one who can do it. Young Alexander is summoned, and then embodying some Chinese guy, Zhang Zhu, whatever. I'm terrible with the Chinese phenoms. Basically mentors him in the Roma chapter. It's pretty funny. And this game is going to be full of references like that. Also, on that note about the phenoms, guess what? It's translated, but it's not localized, basically. All the dialogue is in Japanese with the original Japanese voice actors. Which means battle dialogue is not translated directly. You gotta go into like the server profile and click on the little voice clips. Which I gotta say is a little freaky for me because it's activating my phantom Japanese powers. Where I have shockingly watched so much shit in Japanese that my brain can actually draw the connections between what they say in Japanese and English translation right away.
Oh, no, trust me. No, it's even worse is when you catch something that they didn't translate properly and you're just like, hiss! How dare!
Yeah. Some of the other translations, though, are great. The localization is pretty funny. What's up, my homies?
Oh my
Utica
god.
mashes mash. Their memes will never die. Somebody's having some fun back there.
Oh my goodness. What's Up My Homies is like quickly gaining popularity and I love it. Like if you do not know what it is, just pick up the game, play it for a couple hours. You will know what I'm talking about.
It's in the first story. You'll get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't pick it, no heart. No heart.
Man.
Oh.
But also on that,
I will say, since we were talking kind of about some recommendations for Fate and stuff, we talked a little bit about like NP music earlier. Fate series has always had a great soundtrack. This game is no different, but it also plays like best hits of certain characters' themes and stuff when they do their Noble Phantasms. It's pretty great. Listen to some Fate music sometime. It's good.
Alrighty, here. Let's see here. Let me force feed my servants here real quick.
That's good. Well, while you're doing that, I will summarize, and if some point comes up that you think we should hit next, go ahead and jump to it. So let's see. We've outlined the game. We've done most of our icebreakers and factoids.
Yep.
We've talked about the gacha and how it works and all the different currency systems. We've talked about the core mechanics. We've talked about why you want to play this game, which is for the waifus.
Oh,
because, by the way, in case we didn't mention this, as you have a bond stat with each servant as you use them.
Oh, yeah!
As you level up their bonds... By the way, Lucky, I don't know if you know this, but they're not done at 5. It just takes a shitload of bond points to get to 6.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, what the...
It's a lot, but that's because they weren't originally able to go to 10 right in the beginning. That's another one of those things we get in NA automatically. But as you grow in bond, you learn more about their personal details. You, learn their vital stats, more about their legends and histories and stuff. You get extra dialogue options. Like, Medusa is my favorite servant, so when you go to the My Room, which is basically like your inventory and settings and stuff, you can, do the classic touchscreen interface, tap your waifu, she talks to you. Medusa talks about how she loves books, and she wants to be shorter. She likes the ocean. Also, it's really funny, one of her bond levels in My Room is to say that she's amassed quite a book collection. We've been together a long time. I'm like, Medusa, we've been together like a week. But okay. I guess we've been time traveling, so it counts. But yeah, so the more you hang out with your servants, the more you bond with them, and you get special dialogue with them, and you unlock interludes so you can, when you ascend them, so you can learn more about them and other cool stuff.
Aha.
So not only do you get to collect your waifus, you could just spend time with your waifus and husbandos.
And when you ascend them, you get to do little quests with them that you go out and you usually fight people because you can't go out and do missions without fighting something. But you do get a little bit more, and it's cute. Like my personal waifu right here is the Berserker, the 4-star Berserker, Tamino Cat, who when she is not out in the field talks like a regular person.
She dials back the madness enhancement.
Yeah. And she just has, the best, lines, just some of the generic stuff, because they're very specific lines, because each bond level has, a line, then just, my conversations, then you can ask them about likes, dislikes, and about the Holy Grail. Tamino's like is like, what do I like? Well, I like you, of course, Master. And I'm like, oh, my heart!
Yeah, Tamino was introduced as the caster option in Fate Extra, where no matter your character's gender, no matter how you relate to them, she instantly assumes that not only are you her master, but you are also her husband. And that's when she says Goshijin-sama, both her and Tamino Cat, that's what she's saying. She's calling you, like, husband or dear. And she instantly latches onto you, which is why a caster, Tamino, and Tamino in general, is lots of people's waifus.
Yeah.
And guess what? There's like 3 Taminos in this game. There's the original caster, there's the Berserker who was a launch servant, and there's going to be a Lancer in one of the summer events. Which also means swimsuit.
Yep. Well, I mean, if we're talking about, like, cute outfits, I mean, like, Tamino starts out, like, Berserker Tamino starts out in just, like, a little kimono. Her next outfit is immediately to maid. Like, she's now my maid cat wife. And I've checked ahead, because you can go on the weekend, look at all the Ascensions.
Okay,
and
so we should probably explain that.
is
Ascension is not just how you increase their level cap and get them more skills. It also changed the Saint Graph, which is basically their little card image. And the card art's usually pretty good. If you tap on the card, you get a full screen. Like, especially some of the Craft Distance cards are freaking amazing. They're beautiful art. They make great phone wallpapers.
Yes, they do.
But as you ascend a servant, you improve their Saint Graph. So they get, like, a cool jacket or some cool special effects. And usually...
Or they start taking off clothing.
Yeah, usually they start ditching clothes. This applies to both male and female servants, by the way. Like, I got somebody in my friend list who's got, like, a max level, as you can get right now, Ku. I can't say his last name. I'm not Celtic enough. That guy. Lancer. The original Lancer. He's shirtless. He's just wearing arms and sleeves.
Actually, that might be mine, because
I've got multiple friends with multiple Lancers, as you would expect.
Well, unless you have like Liz or someone else, Lancer's probably who you're gonna have.
Well, he's a 3-star. He's a well-known character. Lancer is a total bro.
He is, bro.
And he's also really great because Gable.
It's already pierced your heart. I'm just following through with the strike.
Yeah, no.
But as I was saying about my cat wife, her third car, as keeping transitioning of losing clothing, is Naked Apron. I'm pretty sure, like, if you're listening to this, you know what the Naked Apron is. For those who don't, it's basically where the girl is wearing nothing but an apron. And it is, tastefully done so you can't see anything, but you're still like, oh. And she apparently is going to go into battle like that. I'm like, goddamn, woman.
I mean,
she's this wife thing.
I presume she keeps her giant cat gloves and boots, though, right?
Yeah.
By the way, yes, Tamino Cat, who is a fox spirit, goes into battle with, like, little cat ears on her head and giant, like, furry mittens with claws on them and boots. So yeah, basically, normally for servants, your servants either get more pimped out or more scantily clad as you upgrade their ascensions, and also they tend to get more cheerful and stuff. Like, the last ascension, you've gone all the way max leveled out this servant is a really, like, comfortable or bro-y image. They're being like, yo, we're cool with you, master. We'll hang out. No, I don't mind that I'm wearing, a bra and shorts and have a giant sword. We're cool. Though, of course, that's funny because there are swimsuit versions for summer events, of course, who don't typically lose clothing because they don't have anything to lose. Though I think swimsuit Mary, who is a caster, puts on a sundress and then takes a sundress off in Ascension order. Because the sundress is really cute. You can't start that way.
I think you can, like, actually toggle what costumes and what
you can pick what... You can't change what card the card is, I don't think. But you can pick which sprite you use in the cards and in the battle animations. So if you don't like how somebody looks at some stage, you can switch it around. Like, say, if you roll the Tamino Cat, and you don't want Naked Apron because you play this game in public like some kind of weirdo.
Man, I don't care, man. Like, someone's gonna say, hey, what you playing?
Let's probably say, well, actually, this is a good point. We should probably kind of round this out by wrapping up, talking about our experiences with the Fate franchise and how that franchise got started and kind of blew up. But we should point out, one, parts of this game are probably, there's nothing explicit, but they're probably not safe for work. There's some heavily implications on some things in some times with some people.
Yeah. People gotta remember, like, the original, like, Fate Stay Night, it wasn't eroge. It wasn't like, you know, like, a
In case
vicious,
you don't know what eroge stands for, it's a Japanese portmanteau of arrow and gemu. If you can't figure that out, I can't help you. Now, my understanding, I've never actually played the whole thing because it came out in, what, 2004?
That is, like, on my, like, to-do list, like, actually.
Yeah, probably I should do that sometime, but it came out in, like, 2004. I was born in 92, so, you know, this game was a little outside of my accessibility range at those tender years. And so I never played the original, but my understanding is the actual sex scenes are plot keyed, they're specific to each heroine in the roots, and they're like one. You get one big culmination scene with some sex stuff, and then you go back to your being a badass. But the game is not necessarily safe for work, both the card art and, like I said, you know, jokes about Boudica mashes mash. That means that Boudica's sprite has dashed over across the screen to smash her boobs and mash the sprite's face.
Man,
I had to pretend to be engaged to Medusa. I have heard that in one of the Valentine's events, Kiyohime offers you basically roofie chocolate.
Oh my god.
Kiyohime is a berserker who is a huge stalker. One of her abilities is stalking, which raises enemy attack but lowers defense.
Wait, who is this again?
Kiyohime.
Oh, okay. It took me a minute to remember who she was. Yeah, she seemed like the person who would offer.
I mean, she turned into a dragon and burned her first love alive because he was scared of her. Which is her noble phantasm. She turns into a fire-breathing dragon and fries people. Fire is good. We're coming! Yeah, you're good. That's a thing you hear a lot. You, to do their noble phantasms, you have to say its true name out loud. So everything is calling its attack, and you're gonna hear some of them a lot because you're gonna want to do them. And also, it's really cool because I don't think
it's funny
the Japanese understood the meme implications of Wicker Man, but Ku is a caster who is a support character in the prologue, and you usually pull him because he's a 3-star like right away after. His noble phantasm is Wicker Man. He summons a giant burning Wicker Man to stomp on your enemies, and it does lots of damage. But it involves him shouting, "Wicker Man!" at, full volume. And you hear... well, you want to hear Luminos Eternal a lot, because it's a very useful noble phantasm. You know, Guillotine Breaker, all the story powers. I used Mozart enough that I heard Requiem for Death a lot. You know, I haven't actually looked up what Mash says when she uses Lord Chalius. I probably should.
Yeah, everyone says that, but then you get, like, characters like My Girl Tomino Cat, whose noble phantasm is called Napping in the Dazzling Sunshine and Feasting.
Which is great, because it does a shitload of damage, gives her health recon, and then she stuns herself because she takes a nap.
Yeah, so, like, getting that open and just hearing that, it's just like, oh my god.
Honestly, from what I understand of Tomino Cat's dialogue, she's pretty funny.
I actually have it right here. Let me see here.
I think one of her defeated quotes is she says, "I'm not a cat and I'm not a dog."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, I think she's actually a jackal.
Is she a jackal? Well, Tomino herself is a fox spirit. She's a 9-foot fox. Hence the Tomino 9, which means I guess there are 9 theoretical versions of Tomino, but there are only 3 in the game. Also, Tomino, if you don't know this already, Tomino is an aspect of Atamarasu, which is her noble phantasm as a caster. She uses the mirror.
Oh.
So this is a fun fact for you.
Yeah,
this is what we talk about spoilers. Because this game completely blows the lid off true identities of servants. Normally that's a huge secret, and so I talked at the start, Artoria's true identity is, actually technically a spoiler. Emiya's true identity is a huge spoiler. Holy shit. Like, that gives away the entire plot of UBW right there.
Unlimited Blade Work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, by the way, that is...
Alright,
I think the reason why Ufotable did Unlimited Blade Works as an adaptation is because it is the only route whose big plot points are not completely spoiled by Fate Zero, because Fate Zero is a prequel, which reveals Sabre's true identity. It reveals that Kotomini Kirei is a huge asshole, which is a secret in the Fate route. You think he's helping you, but he's a huge dickbag. It reveals that Gilgamesh survives and is also a huge douchebag. And it also reveals that Sakura used to be a Tosaka and is currently undergoing real fucked up shit with the Mato family, and Zoken is evil. Like, all that is spoiled in Zero. But the fact that Archer is future Shiro is not. And holy shit. That's...
Like, honestly, like, if we're gonna talk, like, Fate Stay Night, like, Unlimited Blade Works, like, I haven't seen, like, for you, like, for people out there who might not be in the know, Fate Stay Night has 3 routes.
Yeah. There are...
Specifically.
3 main scenarios, each is tied to a heroine. There is the Fate scenario, which is the default. When you play the game for the first time, you have to play this route. This is the route with Sabre.
Mm-hmm.
Shiro, Emiya summons
second route is
Sabre, and there's a lot of stuff. I'll say this now. We'll go through this as they come out. Fate is the default and is the most idealistic route. It is the one where Shiro helps Sabre recover her idealism, and his heroic ideals are not tarnished.
Yep, he remains the shining, naive,
which is why
kid.
Most people don't like... If you don't like Fate, the Fate route is usually why you don't. Because Shiro's kind of an asshole in his own weird way. He's a bit of a dickhead. And the fact that the original Fate route does nothing to disabuse him of that does not help most people. It's also where great quotes like people die when they are killed come from. There is an original anime adaptation from 2006 of that route that, most people saw that one first. So, if you've maybe heard of Fate before, people are keen on it, this might be why.
Yep.
So the next one is Unlimited Blade Works. It's my personal favorite.
Well,
that's because
mine too.
I really like Rin. Ishtar Wen. Eshrigo Wen. Hell, fuck it. Magical Girl Rin Wen. She's in both Prisma Ilia and the Fandisc sequel, Hollow Erexia. Wen. Come on, Delightworks, be kind. Be kind to me. But, so, this is the middle route, where Shiro's ideals are challenged, they are shown as deeply flawed, but at the same time, he accepts those flaws and he strives to improve them. It's personally where I think it's the most dynamic, because it splits that role between idealism and cynicism. Basically, you have to accept the flaws of your own behavior, but that doesn't mean they're bad. Or, as Shiro would say, just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right.
Honestly, I think that's super fucking inspirational.
I mean,
but
it's a clunky translation of the fact that the original dialogue in Fate is my understanding. The reason why you get so many memes out of its translation is because the dialogue's fucking clunky. In Japanese, it's actually kind of verbose and obtuse. So, you get weird shit like, the archer class is really made up of archers, or just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right. Because those are really hard to actually, put the proper euphemism. When Rin says the archer class is really made of archers, she's using archer as a noun for the character archer, and also the noun for the class. So, what she's saying is, you, the person archer, really are a good example of the class of archers, but grammatically it's kind of a clusterfuck. When Shiro says just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right, he's saying just because you've got your facts right doesn't mean that you're morally right.
Yep. I still got that out of that, even hearing that.
No, most people get it. It's just, it's another excuse not to like it because it's weird. They did fix some of the original, fan translation, King of Heroes, do you have enough swords and do you have enough weapons in stock? the original translation of that is the simple, King of Heroes, do you have enough swords? Which I think is funnier and more direct, but it's not as eloquent as that fucking scene. Goddamn. I watched episode 24 of UBW right away after I finished watching Fate Zero the other night. I gotta watch the whole thing again, but it's great. Oh my god.
I'm gonna probably watch Fate Zero here pretty soon. But
watch Fate Zero, then immediately watch Unlimited Blade Works. It's great because Gilgamesh gets away scot-free at the end of Zero, and you're like, God damn, Gil, you're an asshole. And then cut to 24 episodes of the sequel later, you're like, yeah, get him, Shiro. You were literally the only person who could do this to Gilgamesh.
And,
yeah, so the third route...
I'm gonna go a little bit more on Limited Blade Works. Blade Works is kind of a decided markup from Fate Stay Night in terms of animation and action. It's like there's a joke among it calling it Unlimited Budget Works.
Yeah,
just
so
because like
the studio
so much...
UFO Table made a shitload of money off Fate Zero. They made a shitload of money off other stuff. They made a lot of money off the other one. People wanted to do a really high budget adaptation. Oh my god! Like Fate Zero is already beautiful. Watch it in high def. The backgrounds are amazing. The soundtrack's amazing. The animation is great, but it's slow because it's from the point of view of the servants. So you see all this high-powered combat happening as they do, slow and dramatic. Unlimited Blade Works is fast. Like it is from the perspective of the masters, who the main characters, Rin and Shiro are both teenagers. They're high school students. Even if Shiro is a bit of a badass, he still can't go quite that fast. These are fucking like high-pitched, smoothly animated combat scenes. It is amazing.
Oh man,
it's a great watch. Like even if you don't like Shiro and some of his idealism, okay, he gets challenged on that. Blah blah blah. Maybe you don't like Rin. I don't know why you wouldn't like Rin. She's the archetypal tsundere, and she's one of the archetypal Zetairyuki. But yeah, so that's Unlimited Blade Works. Do you have anything more to say about UBW?
No, I'm just gonna go and let's go into Heaven's Field and this is where I go into unknown territory because I haven't played the game. I'm waiting for the movies.
I know the rough outline of Heaven's Field. So let me describe Heaven's Field to you. One, the heroine is Sakura, your Shiro's adorable kohai. And as I said, if you watch Zero, if you read any stuff about it, you understand the complication. It's a secret that Sakura is actually Rin's younger sister who was given to another mage family to avoid inheritance complications. And the mage family she was given to is really fucked up. And its patriarch is a huge douchebag. Her adoptive older brother Shinji is a huge prick who gets his fucking face smashed in every route, no matter what you do. He is a terrible person, he gets what he deserves all the time. It is the most dark and cynical of the routes, and that is saying something, because while if you complete the Fate route, that's the most idealistic, blah blah blah. You complete UBW successfully, Shiro comes to terms with his ideals, blah blah blah. There are some bad ends, and there's some fucked up shit that happens to other characters in those series that's really bad. Oh my god, Heaven's Field, just as a summary, it is the darkest and most cynical. It is the situation where Shiro is forced to choose between his ideals and the girl he loves, and has to make that choice, and guess what the complete through route of that scenario is.
Yep.
That's coming out in movie form soon.
Oh,
I think it's multiple movies.
Yeah, I think the first movie is this fall.
Yeah,
I believe
it's this year.
Because they're doing Fate Apocrypha.
Yeah, Fate Apocrypha right now.
Yeah, and so I think
that's a light novel series that's being adapted into an anime. It's great.
And that's where
I'm just saying that because Mordor isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. But we were talking about animation, like I think they went even further with the animation for Heaven's Field this time.
Well, see, it's a movie now. That means you have, instead of a extended production schedule over a season where you have to make 24 episodes, and technically that's 2 production seasons in Japan, you have 2 hours of film, you have an entire multiple months of build-up to perfect that animation. You've got another, the joke is Heaven's Funding. Instead of Heaven's Field, Heaven's Funding. Because, the budget's been tuned up. Holy shit. It's UFO Table again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, if you've been following that is for you. I'm a little hesitant, because I don't necessarily... I don't mind the cynicism side of UBW. I don't mind challenging Shiro's ideals. Because of how dark it is, I'm a little hesitant about Heaven's Feel, but I'm still going to watch it because I love Fate and it's going to be beautiful. Like, that says something you should think about. And like we said, there's the anime of Apocrypha, which is airing this season. There was an OVA for Grand Order called First Order, which is kind of just like a summary. I think they're making an actual anime series out of it. Because the story is done in Japan. I think they talked about that. They are definitely doing an anime adaptation of Extra, which is PSP. Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's been announced. I don't know when, but it's eventually coming. Those two games are on PSP, and then they have a sequel set in the same continuity that's on PS4, and I think it's available on Steam, which is Extella. That's where Nero is from, that's where Tano is from. That's actually where a lot of servants who started in Grand Order from. Elizabeth's from there. Hans Christian Andersen's from there. Some other characters. But yeah, so the Fate franchise is obviously big.
It's really big.
But those are your three main roots of the original visual novel. And I think those three heroines define a lot of archetypes in various Fate medias. You've got your Sabre faces, obviously, but usually you have there is that more tomboyish character type or the noble type that Sabre represents. Rin is kind of your middle root. She's in it for herself, and she's got the tsundere and all that adorable stuff. And she's your.
And then you got
friend.
Sakura, who is.
Sakura is the.
Yeah,
Sakura is the MASH archetype. She's the adorable Kohai. She's the squishy, motherly one. You know, the kind who would get mercilessly bullied and rolled over on, but also possibly has incredible dark power, and don't piss her off because she will destroy you. There's a reason why she is on so many 5 and 4 star CEs. Like, I have Imaginary Around that has Sakura on it. There's a reason for that. She's actually a really powerful magus. And she's got some fucked up shit going on that's really bad. It's gonna be bad, bro.
Okay, here's my main question is, what is the true route that leads up to Fate Hollow Exteria?
Oh, well, here's the funny thing. So, Holorexia is a fan disc, which is a thing apparently they do in Japan. It's basically like an expansion pack. It's a reward for fans, usually when you sell so many copies of a game or something like that. It includes bonus art assets and whatever, and sometimes it includes a story continuation that's not necessarily canonical, but is there to appeal to the fans and make you feel good about yourself. So, here's the thing about Holorexia. It is explained, because in the game there's a time loop. Every 4 days, or when you as Shiro die in the game, you reset back to the beginning. And try again. Because there's some more fucked up Fate shit going on. But, apparently, Rin does some magic bullshit which causes multiple timelines to collapse into themselves, which means that all the roots happened. Including all their bonus ends. So, Sabre is still alive and hanging out in Shiro's house, despite the fact that the Grimoire is over, which can happen in certain endings and interpretations of actually both UBW and Fate. Because, funny story, I'm pretty sure Rin goes both ways, and she crushes on Sabre hard a lot. In fact, in the original version, in the H scene with Sabre, Rin is involved. She's there. Because it's a... Guess what? The excuse is that you can transfer mana through sex, so Shiro has to have sex with Sabre to give her more mana so she can use Excalibur, and Rin helps. And also, that's how Rin gives Shiro part of her magic crest in Unlimited Blade Works, etc. So, yeah. There's a very deliberate question of, it, in a triangle ending where both Rin and Sabre are in love with Shiro and they both stay alive and in the present time, who actually is in charge of that harem, whether or not it's for Rin or for Shiro? There's a lot of those questions. So that still happens. Rin is still there. She's studying at the clock tower like she does in the end of Unlimited Blade Works. Sakura is alive, but everybody knows she's Rin's sister and all that other stuff that only revealed. Ryder is still around. Ryder only becomes a really big character, and that's Medusa Ryder, in Heaven's Feel, which is probably the one reason why I'm really excited about that movie, is because Ryder will stay a prominent character throughout. Because
yeah, she doesn't last
here's the
long
thing.
either.
Ryder is actually Sakura's servant. She summons her, she supplies her with mana, but originally in Fate and Unlimited Blade Works, she can't stand to go against Shiro once she learns he's a master because, you know, he's her adorable senpai and she loves him a lot. And she makes him meals and stuff. So she gives her command seals to her adopted brother Shinji, and he controls Ryder. And Shinji is a suck-ass, not a real mage. He can't even do spells. That's how terrible the Mato family is. And basically, this is why Ryder gets crushed all the time. In Fate, she gets obliterated by Excalibur on top of a building because she pulls her Pegasus Noble Phantasm out of Bellerophon, and so Sabre shoots a sword laser at her. And then, are they clear who beats her in Unlimited Blade Works? Is it Castor or is it Berserker?
I think it's Berserker, because I think, like, she's, like, remember, I think she was beat in the classroom, and...
Yeah, she got fucking smashed.
Yeah, she got fucking smashed, like, her head was, like, literally twisted all the way around.
Yeah, and she was in a crater in the wall, so it was probably Berserker.
Yeah, probably.
Because holy shit, Berserker. Hercules. He's a big deal.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the point I should explain about the Nasuverse in general. In Nasu, and especially in Fate series, older and more original is better. The older something is, the more closer it is to the Age of Gods and the Magic Time. So that's why Gilgamesh, who is part of literally the first fictional epic of human history, is so strong, because he is original and he has access to the original versions of everything. Arthur is the original archetype of a king, and her story is the most well-known example of that story, so she's really strong. Hercules is a super well-known myth, and he is a semi-divine being, so he's got a lot of powerful primacy. That's why he's such a Billy badass.
Oh yeah, that's another great line from Unlimited Blade Works. There's no reason that an imitation can't surpass an original.
There's no reason saying an imitation can't. Or, you know, Shiro's basically got a lot of one-liners when fighting Gilgamesh. That's right, I don't create swords. I just give form to what's in my mind. I create a world that contains infinite swords. This is the only magic allowed to Emi Shiro. When he's created his reality marble, which is basically a tiny pocket universe that is his personal internal reality. And his internal reality is an endless field of swords.
And it is ever, like, I don't care what anyone says, I don't care what your inclination. When you're, like, summoning swords from nothing, it's like, you, like, it is your romance just to see that shit going down.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really good. I fucking love that design. It's a great aesthetic, and it's a great point in the story of Unlimited Blade Works, because Gilgamesh has been fucking running wild. He kills Ilya, that dickbag.
She just wanted a friend.
She just wanted her brother, her adoptive older brother, because her family never let her see her literal dad again. And
isn't that also like something spoiled in Zero?
Oh yeah, no, I think Zero, because Shiro's adoptive father, Kitsurigu, who is a mage, and that's in the Fate story. He talks about that, because that's how Shiro knows magecraft. He is a master. He is Sabre's original master in Fate Zero, and his wife is Iriasville, who is Iliasville's mother, and so he is her father. That is why Ilya calls Shiro Big Brother, despite the fact that she's technically older. But she's an artificial human homunculus, so she's, like, eternally 8 or whatever. Despite the fact that I think she's, like, it's been, like, 20 years since she was born. So she is actually Shiro's older sister. By the way, this is why I say if you don't like the darkness of Fate Zero, watch Prisma Ilya, because that's basically... If
she is
Fate
actually
Zero
an
didn't end shittily,
and...
If Fate Zero had a happy ending, if it wasn't written... Because the light novel and the anime were directed by Gen Urobuchi, the famous Urobutcher. So, basically, if that story ended positively, you get Prisma Ilya. And it's happy and fun, and Ilya has her big brother and her daddy and her mommy, and holy shit, guys. But yeah, so Gilgamesh is a huge dick bag for the entire anime that you know him. He's friends with nobody except Kirei, which is not a sign of anything good, because Kirei Kotomini is also a huge fucktard.
You're going to be called Mongrel a lot by Gilgamesh, I'm just telling you.
Zashu! That's his signature word. Calling people mongrels. Yeah, so basically it's just a great scene. Let's see. We were talking about Well, I talked about Hollow Ataraxia, which is basically that whole 3 thing. We talked about the archetypes of the 3 heroines. By the way, there was supposed to be an Ilia root, but it was cut for time. And that's okay because they're not actually blood related.
Okay.
But yeah, there is a fabled Ilia route where you actually follow Ilia. Nobody really knows the details other than that it was planned, but it was cut for time because the visual novel has 3 routes and it's got, CGs and music and lots of story and writing and stuff. Then there's also the other 2 non-heroines, but everybody likes. Ryder Medusa, of course, because she's smoking hot. And she's kind of cool when you get to know her. She's a very reluctant monster.
Yeah, I know. It's like, you just want to hold her and pet her head and tell her everything is okay and it's alright for her to be tall.
I can't pet Medusa's head. She's literally as tall as I am. Well, I can because I could reach up, but she's literally as tall as I am. Which is, like I said, why I find it so funny she wants to wish to be shorter. I'm like, but it's my height. She's got monster strength, though, so, she could, carry me on her shoulders.
I'll be okay with that.
We'll do, a Mecha Shiva thing. And then she'll summon Bellerophon, and then we'll be a totem pole of riders. And then I can fit Mary on my shoulders.
Oh my god.
Just stack riders.
And
So, by the way, Ryder has H scenes in Hollow Ataraxia. Usually, and because it comes to terms that, guess what? She crushes on Shiro too. Also, she probably crushes on Sakura a little. And then there's Castor.
Castor is what always makes me sad. Castor never gets a break.
I mean, in Hollow Ataraxia, she gets a break because she's living a happy married life with Soichiro. But it's a fan disc, so that's what happened. Yeah, so Castor is Medea. If you're not familiar with the legend of Medea, look it up. There's a famous play interpretation, which is a tragedy. It's fucking baller. But Medea is the original woman scorned. She's a terrifying witch, granddaughter of the sun god, wife to a Greek hero, which naturally doesn't work out well for her. Or Jason. But in Fate, Castor's kind of a prick in the original Fate. No matter what your route is, she's kind of fucking up Shiro's shit, and she's not really nice about it. She fucking hijacks Sabre, she tries to steal Shiro's command seals multiple times. She has a mage fight with Rin that Rin only wins because, guess what? In whatever year in the 2000s, probably 2004, I guess, that Fate is set, mages don't skip leg day. But Medea is from a classical era, so she did skip leg day. Rin didn't. And that's literally the only way she wins. Is because she can out bench press via magic an ancient witch. But Castor's not very nice, but she gets shreked frequently. In Fate, Gilgamesh introduces himself by obliterating Castor and the shrine with Gate of Babylon to be like, hey, by the way, I'm Gilgamesh, I'm here. You know that last character you thought was a huge pain in the ass? I took her out in one sweep. And then in Unlimited Blade Works, Archer kills the shit out of her because Archer is a bit of an asshole because he wants to kill himself in the past to be free of his eternal duties as the
Guardian.
Agent. Yeah, he's a counter guardian. He's an agent of mankind's collective unconsciousness who exists to prevent mankind from being fucked up by itself. So he kills lots of people throughout time and space, and it's really bad.
Very depressing,
Archer,
apparently.
man, I feel for him real deep. But he's kind of an asshole about fixing his problem. He wants to kill Shiro while Shiro was at his lowest to create a huge paradox and thus unmake himself from time. He doesn't even know it's going to work either. But he betrays a lot of people, including Castor. I don't know what happens to Castor in Heaven's Feel, but most servants in Heaven's Feel get obliterated in order to make way for the actual villainous aspects.
Yeah.
But yeah, so... But Castor is actually adorable. She's very much waifu material. Because...
like a lot of the time, you only see her with her, her cowl on, so you don't see her face. Once you take back that cowl, look at this beauty, and you just want to be let me love you.
She's great. She's adorable. She just wants a loving husband and family life. And
honestly,
her original master in the Holy Grail War was a huge asshole, and she destroyed him and met a nice, kind ninja assassin, and they made a contract. And she really just wants to solidify their place as husband and wife. But
like, honestly,
to do that, she has to destroy everybody else, and she's not nice or subtle about it. But if you understand Medea, you get that. She's not a nice or subtle lady when you piss her off.
All she wanted was her loving life. So she just wanted to be left alone in the temple. Just have my husband. Have my husbando. We're already engaged.
Yeah, but also she was maybe kind of sort of sapping mana from lots of people around town. Stealing life energy.
Details.
Yeah, details. Just like it's just a detail that Shinji was a huge asshole who used Blood for Andromeda runes to get ready to melt everybody in the school down to mana and have Ryder eat it so she could actually be a decent servant. Details. Gee, you wonder why, Shiro resorts to banging in order to give Sabre more mana. Because
I'm pretty sure.
Terrible.
I'm pretty sure Ryder would not let Shinji touch her with like a 10-foot pole. Like real talk.
No, he would need to use a command seal for that, and then she would probably turn to stone when he was looking. Because it's not like she doesn't need him as her master. She's getting mana from Sakura. Sakura only gives up the command seals because she can't fight Shiro. In Hollow Ataraxia, and you see this a little bit at the end of Unlimited Blade Works, when Sakura actually grows a spine, she runs that household. Because she's the only one who can actually do magic worth a damn.
Oh man, I am gonna have to sit down, get my Fate Zero in, do my Fate Stay Night, and Unlimited Blade Works.
Yeah, so we've been running a little long. I think I want to wrap this out with our experience.
God, I'm doing 2 hours.
Hour and a half. Just crossed the hour 30 mark, but that's okay. This is all good conversation. So we talked about 2004 was the original visual novel. 2006 there was an anime adaptation of the Fate route. Fate Zero was 2012, 2013, I want to say.
Yeah.
And that was originally a light novel series that was a prequel. Then Unlimited Blade Works was 2015.
Yeah, I want to say 15.
Yeah, and that's because it's by the same studio, and like I said, it's the only route that doesn't have its major plot point spoiled by Fate Zero. You should think of it as a sequel to the Fate Zero anime. The two animes bookend very well, which is why I say to watch them back to back. Right now, there is the Apocrypha anime airing. It just started, and there will be the Heaven's Feel first movie.
It's gonna be good.
And like I said, there's 4 seasons of Prismia Ilia, and there's a movie on the way.
Yeah, I'm kind of ashamed that I like that series, but I'm gonna watch it.
I'm gonna fake kick right now. I'm gonna hit them all over again because it's a really good time to, So I'm gonna hit Prisma Ilia because I've only watched a little bit of the first season, and it didn't get me right away. But I think I'm gonna push through on that myself because now I am really interested. I didn't even get to meet Kuro as a character, so I'm gonna get it for free later. So I should learn more about her. And I think that's and there's an extra one. It's an anime that's coming out. And extra, I don't remember when it came out, but it was a PSP game, and then there's extra CCC, which is a sequel expansion thing, one of those kinds of deals. I don't know if it was just an updated, how Square Enix does Ultima versions of their games. I don't remember if it was a completely new story or if it was just the new story and also an extra story add-on. Then there's Extella, which came out, I think it actually came out this year. If not, it came out late last year. There's a fighting game called Unlimited Codes, but that also has some other Nasuverse characters in it. I think that was on PSP also. See, in Japan, the PSP is a real thing, and then the PS Vita, so people actually play games on those, and thus lots of nerdy, niche otaku games ended up on PSP and Vita. Which is kind of a shame, but whatever, emulators are a thing. And listen, officially, on my monetized video on YouTube, I'm not going to say anything about piracy, but at the same time, if you can't play something normally, what else are you going to do? Is it a real big deal? Nobody's making any profit off copies of Fate Extra anymore. Or you can just watch the anime when it comes out.
Yeah.
My initial experience was, I read about Fate Stay Night somewhere because I'm always digging for stories. It's one of those things I found, I'm like, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing ever. Then I watched the 2006 anime. I liked it. And then obviously Fate Zero came out. I don't think I watched all of that right away. I read some translations of the light novel when it was coming out, but it wasn't all translated at the time, so I had to stop. I obviously watched Unlimited Blade Works because, goddamn. I've watched some Prisma, and I'm going to watch all of it. I'm playing FGO, obviously. Some people who are huge hipster nerds, they feel like other Nasiverse stories like Kara no Kyokai or Tsukihime are better or deeper or more interesting. Some of them might just be mad that they did not catch on like Fate did, because holy shit, Fate caught on. And honestly, because FGO is so popular, because it makes so much money in Japan, because it does make a lot of money, when it launched in China, it jumped to the #1 spot on the marketplace, their marketplace there, from sales and stuff. Because it makes all this money, all this stuff we're talking about is possible. Stuff like the Apocrypha anime, the Heaven's Feel movies, stuff like that. Fate as a property had a lot of money, a lot of which is driven by gachas and merch. So, it's going up in the world. 2017 is a good year for Fate fans.
It is. I'm excited to see where it goes next.
Well, talking about Let's Go Next, let's wrap this up. Let's talk about future hype. The next event that I know of is Nero Festival, which involves lots of boss rushes. So I hope you like those. But it's got to involve raid-ups for Roman characters, including Nero, who I really want because she's a 4-star Sabre who's really good. Seriously, her skills make her a freaking tank. She has 2 self-heal skills, clears debuffs, and does defense and attack up. She's a freaking wall. And then the next story chapter, which will be, I think, in the next couple of months. I'm not sure about the exact timeline. The timeline for the Taiwanese version, which I don't know if this is officially launched yet, but it will launch soon, has been out, and they have like a couple of months until Okeanos is available. That's the next story chapter. And there will, I'm pretty sure, other big events this year that are actual events, like not just a single quest, not just a gacha raid-up, but actual like quest event maps with bonus stuff and special things. There's going to be a Halloween event, which will start in late September, early October-ish area, and then there's a Christmas event which starts in like late November, early December-ish area and runs through the month.
Yeah, and speaking of that, one of the main things about the game is that the world has ended by 2018, which was interesting because when the game originally released in Japan, it said that the world ended in 2016. So we're expecting to get.
By the way, I should tell you, because it's come out in Japan, the story chapters are done in Japan. Now they are in a post-game stories before Part 2 story chapters are rolled out. So, maybe that date is significant and related to how the story gets rolled out.
Oh, shite. Yeah, so as I said, I'm expecting to have a lot of content come out before the year is out.
We're gonna get a lot of big events. We're gonna get a lot of major servants. Sadly, because it launched in summer, we have to wait a whole year before the first summer event so we can get servants in bikinis. It's a terrible shame. It's also a dreadful shame that both Mordred and Swimsuit Mordred are both 5 stars.
Oh, God.
But for some reason, Sabre Alter and Sabre Alter the Lancer are both 4 stars. What is this nonsense?
I'm okay with this.
I'm okay, too. I'd really love to roll the Sabre Alter in my 4-star. I'd also really like to roll a Nero. I'd like a 4-star Sabre that's not Sabre Lily, because unfortunately, Sabre Lily has not as good stat growth as other Sabres, and apparently her skill selection is poor for her class.
Well, she's young and cute and idealistic. I think it reflects.
Yeah, no, I mean it makes sense. And she is a free 4-star servant of one of the best classes you can get. Because Sabres are usually high rated, and most Sabres are freaking huge rarity. Like, the minimum, I think, is 3, and that's Caesar and Gilderais as a Sabre, who is vendor trash. He's worthless. His Noble Phantasm is a self-buff. Just a single-target self-buff. It's not even that great. He's not great. Caesar's pretty good. I think, like, stat growth-wise, he's actually better than Sabre Lily. He's not as cute, but that's okay. Caesar's no problem. we constantly shout.
He's so round.
I know,
He's
it's
like
weird.
cute round.
That's not even his historical shape. Like, most people, even when he was older and got stabbed, like, historical evidence indicated that he was actually pretty fit, so it's kind of weird that he's a bit of a roundo. But he's got some strength. And we constantly go places shouting, I came, I saw, now all that's left is to conquer. I mean, he says the same phrase that All Might says. Watashi wa kita. And then smacks with Crocodile Horse. But yeah, so
right.
Sabres are really rare. But yeah, so that's our big excitements. We've got events coming up. We hope you're still here. Honestly, judging by some of how my X-Wing videos have done, long videos are not necessarily a detriment. So I hope you're still here. Go get FateGrand Order. I'll put our friend codes in the description of this video. Please friend us. You want to friend us, we have really cool servants who are 4 and 5 stars. Give us friend points, get cool timeshare waifus.
Yeah.
I've got a Jean, he's got a Tamino cat. I have some other 4 stars, he has some other 4 stars.
I have Marie Antoinette, man. Like, if you want to talk like small and cute and adorable,
I have never liked Marie Antoinette more than because of this game.
It's so true. Oh my god.
Listen, this is one of your bullet points that I don't think we actually talked about. But if you want to learn some real shit about history, play FateGrand Order. Because other than some of the gender flipping thing is like practically much like the Sabre face, it's practically a series, standby. It's a joke, or it's an element, or it also sells, quartz, so you roll cute waifus, and buy merch, buy figurines. But
I'm
listen, if I had unlimited budget works, there would be a shelf in my room which would be nothing but figures, probably different sabers.
I'm feeling like Jean, Marie Antoinette.
By the way, Jean and Jean Alter are huge marketing pulls for this game. Like, Jean Alter.
I'm looking at this $300 figurine. I'm like, I need this.
Jean Alter was apparently so popular when she was introduced because she's Jean but angry and spawns dragons. That she basically became the driving mascot of this game. Like, Jean Alter is a big deal. She's in all the merch. There is originally, and I don't know if she's in the NA version right now, there's originally a ruler version of her in the Gacha, which is basically just literally Jean, but with a slightly different noble phantasm, and she's got a different sprite that's colored. There is actually now in the Japanese version, an Avenger Jean Alter, who is a real servant with her own unique powers and skill sets and stuff that is pretty good. And of course, for the second Christmas event, you got Jean Alter Lily Santa. It's ridiculous. Listen, this game's freaking ridiculous. There's like 8 sabers. Well, there's more than 8 sabers, but there's like 8 versions of the character who was Sabre. There's like 3 different versions of Gilgamesh, who are all high rarity. There's all kinds of crazy nonsense. There's in-jokes to history, which are usually very well researched. Or, if there are changes to history, the game usually notes on them. It's like, this is weird. There must be something going on with, like, either people's perception of the legend or the servant container or something strange. There's cute girls, there's good-looking guys, there's all kinds of other stuff. It's a great pick. So get it, and give us friend points, and hang out, and let's borrow your servants. Yeah. And if you want me to have cooler servants you can borrow, watch this video a lot with ad blocker turned off so I make money. Lucky, do you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts? Let's see here. I said, get the game, play it. I said, all you need is, I don't know what you need for our iPhones, because I don't use an iPhone, but you can play it on, like, any Android device, as long as you have Android 4.0 or higher. I have to actually make sure I did that. But, yeah, play it. It's not that big.
I had some problems playing it on getting it to run on a tablet and install, but it installs just fine on phones. I think it's definitely geared more towards phones than tablets, but seriously, it's an Android device. You shouldn't have any problem. There are Android emulators for PC if you really need to goof around with it. Oh,
real quick, one thing, like, I haven't used yet, but I saw that I'm super excited to use. that you don't see a lot of gacha. They have a data transfer system.
Yes.
Can you believe
if
that?
you need to transfer your data, you can do it.
It's like
if you move phones, you can move your data.
It's like that's something that's
I will say
I want people to know. It's like if you start this game, you can take it with you wherever you go.
Apparently it's a little bit of a complicated process, but if you do it, you can do it and make sure to do it because it really helps. I will say I had some stuff going on like with Fire Emblem Heroes, basically the Fire Emblem style game like this, which I think is newer but was released in America earlier. But that's tied to an external Nintendo account and cloud saves, so that recovers all your data. If your accounts don't match, it'll sync to your cloud data, basically. And like all mobile games, you need to have an internet connection or a mobile connection. There's not really a lot of load time issue. If you're like me, where I literally dug out an old phone that nobody's using as a phone anymore to run this game on, you can run it just fine on Wi-Fi. If you have the storage space, there's a install all option. You can install all the files so there's less loading. And it's got pretty good data management. I don't experience a lot of lag problems or anything. Sometimes it's a little weird, but it's on Wi-Fi.
It drains my battery like no tomorrow, though. That's my only problem.
What?
It drains my battery like no tomorrow. Like I only can get like a few hours out of it before it's done.
Maybe that's just what you're running it on. Though, like I said, I'm literally using a discarded phone, a hand-me-down phone that nobody's using anymore, so it's not running anything else in the background. So maybe that's it. Check your apps.
Check your apps. Anyway, that's it for me. Hope you all had fun. Hope to see you all again.
Yeah. So, if you like this video, please give it a like below. If you have any comments about any of our ramblings, you want to talk about who's your waifu, you want to report your gacha pulls, all those other things, you want to tell us our waifus are shit, or other memes, go for it. That's fine. I allow those comments. Please leave a comment below. And if you want to...
Hey, I'm telling you right now, though, if you come out here telling my waifu is shit, you better be prepared to defend your points. I will go to war to defend her honor. Like, serious, man.
Listen, waifus are serious business. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe if you haven't already. I assure you, there will be more.